the United States, we have none other than Suppy. And his opponent is going to be spawning as the blue Terran in the top right-hand corner. He is currently 1-0 down in this best-of-3 series. This is not elimination just yet, bear in mind, it is the group stages, so no one is out of the tournament at this point. But let's see if he can rally back and take a map against his illustrious opponent. His name is SanSan.
Now, Star Station, this is one of these maps where there's so much dead space around the main, around the natural. It's really easy to go through, but also SanSan is going to have a little bit of difficulty taking his third. It's so wide open. What I'm really going to be keeping an eye out for is whether he goes for that aggressive strategy we saw in Game 1 with that Reaper into a bunker at the natural base, or whether he's just going to actually sit back and just try and get his economy looking really solid. Those are the two big choices he's got going for him. For the moment, though, we just see Suppy going for a 15 hatch, perfectly normal. He doesn't really need to shake things up too much because Game 1, he was just playing very standard, very safe, and it worked for him.
Well, it looks like SanSan is going to opt against grabbing that gas this time around, so we're not going to see an early Reaper in this particular game.
No, I don't think we are going to see a Reaper super early because without that gas there, it wouldn't be too great. Star Station is actually quite a good map to be going for Reapers generally because of the amount of cliff space around, but I mean, it's still fine not going for that. I think just going for a 1-rack CC is probably a safe move to make, and I believe this is actually forced cross spawns, and SanSan is going to go and check up in the top left position.
Yeah, it could well be. I'm not 100% certain, admittedly. Depends on which map they're hosted, because even if they might accidentally be hosted on the wrong map, for example, but I doubt it. He's going to check in the top left anyway, though. It's going to make a little bit of a difference to his scouting, but ultimately, it shouldn't affect the outcome of the game or anything like that. Still no gas being taken from SanSan, of course, trying to get his economy up as quickly as possible. Command center building on the low ground as well, so a couple of Marines very aggressively positioned there. In fact, if he was slightly further out, he might even be able to prevent this Overlord from seeing the command center, but as it stands, he doesn't know that that scout is coming in, and Suppy's going to see right now that SanSan has that command center on the alert and immediately gets out with the Overlord. That's great, because SanSan never even saw the Overlord coming.
Yeah, and even if he did see it coming, he may have been able to force it back from the command center, but he never would have been able to take it down in that position there. The SCV scout is coming off really quite nicely though. Going to be able to see everything important. Sees the gas timing, sees the spawning pool is not yet shimmering, so speed isn't started, just getting up now. That's a good indicator of what sort of strategy the Zerg player is going to be going for. But unfortunately, the one thing that SanSan wasn't able to scout was whether drones were pulled out of the extractor. That's always an important thing to see because that's what lets you know whether a Zerg player is going to try and be aggressive against you and go for, say, some early roaches or banelings, or whether they're actually just going to be macroing up, getting as many drones and as many bases as they can early game.
That's a great point, actually. If those drones did stay in the gas, that could be indicative of a very early baneling nest, for example. Always possible to see some more aggressive plays coming out of the Zerg player, but in this particular case, Suppy is actually going to be going for the econ approach. We don't see any additional gas being taken. His Zerglings are being sent far and wide across the map. I love his Overlord spread as well. Once again, like on Akelon Waste, he is ready to view all of the positions where there might be drops coming in. He's taken the watchtowers at the left and soon to be right extremes of the map as well. Oh, he does actually have another link going there. But the point is, he's so aware of typical drop routes right now on Star Station that it's going to be annoying if SanSan wants to try and do the same thing as he did last game.
I think that's a big thing though. I think it's smart of SanSan, with how well Suppy dealt with the drops in the first game, not to be rushing into that sort of play and actually just trying to vary it up. And as we're seeing on screen now, Suppy has no vision of what's going on. These additional racks are pumping a lot of Marines and they are now starting to move across the map. This is actually a relatively sizable force, but this single speedling is going to come and scout this out, so we'll be aware of what's coming. That's going to prompt Suppy to get some more Zerglings in production. 12 now on their way out. With this, he's going to easily be able to deal with it unless there's a considerably large number of Marines on their way following this up.
And while there are going to be a considerably large number of Marines, we still have 4 of them on their way. What slightly concerns me is that there has been no tech lab on any of these barracks medals. And no, never mind, we have a first skirmish here, and it looks like the Marines are going to get caught out at the bottom watchtower. Only about 5 or 6 there, as we can tell from the corpses on the ground. And those Lings, unfortunately, taking them out at this stage. Now, oh no, open ground, even though oh no, he's not going to be able to survive that either. It's the one thing I do want to say about this strategy that surprised me a bit is he moved out with the Marines at a time, look, he still has more here. at a time where I think if he put an early tech lab on any one of these barracks, because of the amount of gas he has, he might have been able to get combat shield or stim out for these Marines right now. And that just makes me feel that this particular timing could have been a lot stronger.
I would agree with you there. It could have been a lot stronger. He was going for a really early push with just Marines, but Suppy, he had enough Zerglings out to deal with it. So now it's the follow-up. What can SanSan transition this out to? Well, he's got the 1-1 upgrades already on their way. He's adding on those add-ons to the barracks so he can start up his stim, his combat shield too. But can he get them out in time before Suppy really comes knocking on his door? We see the Baning Nest is already on its way down. 1-1 upgrades are there. A good number of Zerglings, and these Marines, so much surface area for those Zerglings. They're just taken out with very minimal losses for the Zerg.
Yeah, 44 Lings versus 9 Marines out on the map right now. It is not a time for SanSan to be moving on out and being aggressive, unfortunately. Suppy, in 3 separate engagements there, has completely shut this down. He's also going for his layer behind this as well. 1-1's nearly complete for the Lings, but Suppy doesn't care. He's got a honey badgered into the natural right now. Does he have enough Lings to take down this bunker? There's only the 1 bunker with the 4 Marines in it. SCV starting to repair. Is Suppy going to try and take it down? No, he's going to... Oh, what's he going to... He needs to decide either to take the bunker or go into the main base or leave, and it felt like he was sort of swapping between the decisions, but now we can see why. He's left because he went, hang on a second, my Baneling Nest is done. Let's have some fun with this. And it looks like he's going to try and bust his way to victory. Yeah.
I think this is a smart move. The initial push in was just to see, okay, was there anything I could attack? But SanSan, he pulled those SCVs to repair the bunker very quickly, but waddling in the Banelings. The Marines, they've got to get back further. They're starting to split nice and slowly, but those Banelings, there's just so many of them. The bunker falls, and this is not looking good for SanSan at the moment, but Suppy, luckily, doesn't have that many Zerglings here. And this first wave should get pushed off, but look at this train of red on its way across the map, JoRoSaR. That could spell disaster.
Yeah, I think that train of red is really what might make the difference here. The second push, if you like, with that train of red. Oh no, Ling's potentially getting into the main as well. He's actually stood on top of that supply deep. We can just waltz straight in, and there we go. And I think that might be a little bit too much for SanSan to handle. This command center is not going to be helping in his defenses at all. GG. And Suppy, ladies and gentlemen, takes the first series of the day here at DreamHack Summer.